can I share with you a little bit about Nautilus on that same album?
That
Uh,
was
Yes,
next.
after
please.
talking to so many people about it and actually confronting with Wu-Tang Clan guys and various people about why, I kept asking the question, why did Nautilus get sampled by so many people? What was it? Uh, and and I was able to share the story on that same one album. You asked about the sequencing.
Hmm.
The Nautilus was the last cut on side B, kind of deliberately because it was almost a throwaway, and Creed Taylor knew that the other cuts would get the attention at that time. So traditionally with the LP, you always made put your weakest cuts on the center, the last cut on the side of an album because the grooves were narrower. You got your best bass sound on the outside cuts. So nobody paid attention to Nautilus. And then however many 10 or 15 years later, I started hearing back that the hip hop producers were grabbing onto it, and I could not. I knew it had a good bass line, and Idris Muhammad playing drums, the groove was there, so I got that. But it just seemed like there had to be something else about it that made it just keep showing up over and over, and it still does, even to this day. So, in a conversation with RZA on an interview that he was doing, suddenly something clicked in for me that I had kind of not been paying attention to at all. But it wasn't just a simple rhythm section groove that Idris and Gary King were laying down. I had written a pretty elaborate string arrangement that for fun. Creed let me do it. There was enough budget that I could hire a string section and write the arrangement. And there was this kind of mysterious, um, ethereal kind of sound that permeated that track. And if anything, I would have thought it would have made it less commercial because it didn't fit in with the other standard funk type of a string arrangement that I might have written. But as I've recently talked to the people in the hip hop community that keep talking about that as being one of the essential tracks that have been sampled the most, I think it might be a combination of that groove and this um, almost classical blurry orchestration that's over the top of it. That
Texture.
Yeah, texture. Thank you.
It's that's why I say you're the king of textures. Like, and I can't describe it, but it's somehow you manage. Like, I know you don't intentionally say, okay, let me create a song that somehow in 6 years will hit another generation. Like, no one thinks that. Like, maybe a musician like me now will think that, like, okay, what I do now, maybe 20 years from now, it'll be in vogue. But you know, I think at the end of the day, you caught a compelling performance with musicians that just were tightly locked. And the fact that you didn't plan it even makes it better because some of the best success stories in music all come from people that aren't calculating. Here's lightning in a bottle. Like Michael Jackson trying to follow Thriller. Like, I'm gonna sell 100 million albums. Like, you can't capture lightning in the bottle that way. It just happens or it doesn't happen. So
Yeah, I totally believe it, and that's why I've always uh, tried to just enjoy the process of doing it and let whatever comes out of that happen. If you're passionate and if you're trying your best to get the best people, write the best arrangement, play the best solo, just do your best and keep trying to make the level higher in that way, then you're still enjoying that, even if it isn't successful. You've had that pleasure and privilege to make music and go through that process.